I'm Garrett Ryan. This is Chicago's Art Institute. And today we're going to explore that eternal question, why are so many ancient statues naked? This was a statue of the Greek hero Meleager, shown setting out to hunt the terrible Caledonian boar. Originally, the statue had a hunting spear in its right hand. That hand is gone now, of course, as are other bits and pieces of the statue, but the torso is still intact. And we can see that Meleager was wearing a little bit of a hunting cloak, a chlamys here around his shoulders, and nothing at all else. This is kind of surprising. He's going off into the woods, after all, where there are thorns and brambles, and a boar with razor-sharp tusks at about this level. So why show Meleager naked? It's not meant to be realistic. It's an artistic convention that conveys something about Meleager as a hero and as a subject.
Many of us take it for granted that the naked human body is, or can be, a suitable subject for art. That assumption, however, is very far from universal. The same was true in antiquity, when the Greeks, and the Romans after them, were uniquely fascinated by the naked body. The classical world's long affair with artistic nudity began in the Greek gymnasium, where men exercised, socialized, and sauntered about in the nude. The Greeks themselves weren't quite sure why they were always naked in their gymnasia. Some speculated that it was a matter of safety. There was a story about a runner who tripped on his own loincloth and broke his neck. Modern scholars think that nudity in the gymnasium was probably about equality. Naked men couldn't advertise wealth or status with expensive clothes or jewelry. The first nudes in Greek art must have been modeled on the gymnasium-toned bodies of young athletes. Naked statues, however, were never meant to be realistic. Their lack of clothing was always intended to communicate something.
Nudity is most commonly used in Greek art to show that someone is a god, a hero, or otherwise exceptional, what scholars call heroic nudity. This is a good example. It shows a Greek warrior who was fallen in battle against the Amazons. He's wearing a bit of a chlamys, again, one of those cloaks you saw of Meleager, and nothing at all else. Despite the movie 300, people don't actually fight naked in the Greek world. It's just not a good idea. So here again we have symbolic nudity. Nudity that conveys that this subject, this Greek warrior, is different from the viewer. He's more courageous, more heroic, belongs in some way to a different place and time from the viewer.
Not all Greek nudes were heroic. Almost from the beginning, nudity had a range of meanings. It had become a convention used in a variety of contexts by the late classical era, when the first female nudes appeared.
Female nudes were late development in Greek art. The first was the famous Aphrodite of Cnidos, sculpted by Praxiteles in the 4th century BC. This is a rather battered Roman copy of that statue, which showed the goddess of love emerging from her bath. It was risque in the 4th century BC to do things like this and show a goddess naked, even Aphrodite. But it became wildly popular, partly because the model was the courtesan Phryne, the most beautiful woman of her time. And as such, it became a model for many subsequent female statues that were naked, both of empresses, more on that in a moment, and of other goddesses.
By the 4th century BC, in short, both male and female nudes were integral to Greek art. Artistic nudity took longer to catch on among the Romans, but once the Roman elite acquired a taste for all things Greek, they began to commission naked statues in record numbers. Some of these were mass-produced imitations of famous Greek masterpieces. Others were portraits, usually of aristocratic Romans, like the woman shown here, who liked the idea of being portrayed as heroes or gods. Emperors were especially enthusiastic. This statue shows Claudius as the god Jupiter. As you can see, he isn't quite naked, but he never wore anything like this in public. His semi-nude state, like his powerfully muscled body, is meant to remind viewers that he is different from, and greater than, other men.
Empresses used the same strategy. This torso of woman with a transparent gown belonged either to Venus or to a Roman empress. We can't tell with the head missing. Empresses were shown in this slinky semi-nude outfit to emphasize their likeness to the goddess of fertility, and thus their continuation of the imperial line.
It should be emphasized that the great majority of Roman statues were not naked. Although emperors were sometimes shown in the nude or semi-nude state of gods or heroes, they were just as likely to be sculpted in their campaign armor, as in this statue of Hadrian. Most Roman men and women, likewise, preferred to be shown clothed. It was only in certain contexts, and to send certain messages, that they had themselves sculpted in the nude. Outside the gymnasium and athletics, for the Greeks, and the baths, for Romans, public nudity was taboo in the classical world. But the Greeks and Romans saw artistic nudity as a way of expressing difference, whether divinity, or courage, or elevated status. And, thanks to the Renaissance, this is an idea that we've inherited. As you might guess from the title, you can read much more about this in my book, Naked Statues, Fat Gladiators, and War Elephants. Available now. Thanks for watching.